Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Oliver. So, Oliver, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Thanks. So my name's Oliver. I run a health coaching business for CEOs, entrepreneurs, and high performers all over the world, and I'm based over in the UK, in Manchester at the minute.
Awesome. So, how did you get the idea to start this business?
So it's an interesting story, actually. I was at university, I had no money, I was broke, and I needed to find a way to earn some extra cash. So I'd got myself into some pretty good shape. And then one summer, I decided to build a website, went on YouTube, looked at all the tutorials on how to do it, and I launched this site, got all my friends on Facebook to basically share it. And then within the first day, I think it was within the first hour, actually, someone had actually bought a fitness package from me, which was pretty awesome, man. And it kind of just started from there. Then went into the corporate world, started working there while also coaching people, did some consultancy at some co-working spaces in central London to get my name out there. I then kind of, went broke after quitting my corporate job, which wasn't great. Ended up in vending machines while kind of building my business on the side. And then, it got to about 2020 and then things started to take off a bit and it became my full-time gig. And now it's kind of what I do full time. We've worked with hundreds of people from all over the world and have a exciting few years ahead, I hope.
Awesome. So can you just talk more about, you mentioned you work with, high performers and CEOs. So what separates you from your competition? Because the fitness space obviously is very big, right? So what would you say, I guess, differentiates you or makes you better?
It's a great question. So we really focus on a holistic approach when it comes to health. I think most, trainers or coaches, they kind of are like, okay, cool, this is a workout plan. Here's a diet, follow this and lose some weight, right? Whereas what we do is much more surgical. It's much more calculated. It's much more intentional. So we focus on definitely the nutrition side of things, the training side of things, but we also look at things like recovery. So sleep optimization, how much deeper REM sleep is somebody getting? We then look at their readiness the next day. How ready are they to perform at their best? Mobility and posture, right? That's a big one, right? Making sure that because high performers are usually sat at a desk most of the day and, working really a lot at the desk, actually alleviating the pain around kind of the neck, the shoulders, improving posture, that kind of thing. We also look at optimizing their lifestyle. So a lot of the clients that we work with, they travel a lot. So what should they be doing when they're maybe, at a client dinner? How should they approach that? What should they do when they're at a hotel and they don't have their usual gym? How do they navigate that, right? We look after all of that. And then most importantly, we also focus on health testing. So we cover things like blood work, so getting an understanding of their gut microbiome, getting a really good understanding as well of, their body fat percentage by doing things like DEXA scans, gut health as well, which is really big. So, what's going on inside there. And I think finally, like cholesterol and blood work, right? So cholesterol and blood work, how is a client's testosterone levels? How is that impacting his brain fog? How is that impacting his sex drive? How's that impacting his decisions he makes each day? So we like to take a holistic approach and we really focus on sustainability as well. So I've been through all these crash diets that are out there. I've been on keto, I've been on high carb, low carb, vegan, whatever it is. And really what we try and do is find a sustainable and really customized and personalized system for our clients to follow, because once a busy person has the right path to follow and the right system, then getting results is just so much easier. So that's a little bit around kind of the difference of what we do compared to maybe other people.
Awesome. So how does the scope work? So does somebody typically work with you for, ever and ever? Or is it like a few months and then they're on their own? Like, what does it look like for really somebody to see success working with you?
So it's a great question. And, it depends on somebody's goals, their starting point and that kind of thing. But typically we work with our clients for, at least a year, sometimes 2 years, even more, because we're trying to make long-term change with people. Let's say you're a CEO and you've spent, I don't know, the last 20 years really building your company and building your career. Trying to get the health results that you want in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks is probably not going to be realistic. So actually trying to find a good time frame to make, build the right habits, but also implement the right changes through the data sets that we get, through the tests that we get, through kind of navigating the tough life of a CEO, lots of travel, lots of stress, family on top of that, right? It can take time to make these changes. And I think that having something that's sustainable is really the key to success with that and building that consistency. So yeah, we tend to work with our clients for a little bit longer term.
Awesome. So obviously now, like in 2023, there's many different ways to acquire new clients. So what has been like the most successful, way for you to get new clients? I mean, is it like running lots of ads? Like how do you get in front of more people?
Yeah, it's a really good question, man. So we do everything at the minute all organically through social media. So we do everything through Twitter or X now, and then we also do a lot of work on LinkedIn. And through that, we obviously acquire new clients, but we also get referrals. Our clients stay with us for longer periods of time. We also have a newsletter as well, which goes out to over 10,000 people, 3 times a week, usually 2 to 3 times a week, which really kind of just gives really actionable advice to busy people there as well. So yeah, it's just through a lot of content marketing, a lot of conversations, a lot of referrals. And hopefully I think the underpinning thing is putting out stuff that's really helpful to people and that, they could execute on their own without our help. I think that putting out that level of content and that kind of content has really like brought people into the brand and brought people into what we do, because there's never too much value you can give away, right? There's never too much, and that's kind of the ethos that we try to stick by when it comes to building the brand.
Makes sense. So what does scalability look like for you? Obviously, I mean, you're one person, but do you have a lot of people in your brand that are working with you, with your clients? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, we have other people in the team apart from me. We have people that help do the marketing side of things. We have like a full-time video editor that does some of that kind of stuff. We also have like some virtual assistants that really like help with content and admin for us. And then we also have a full-time coach. And the full-time coach is great because he mainly looks after all of the clients that we have. He takes care of all of that side. So I can kind of bring new people in, focus on the strategy and managing the team.
Awesome. So obviously now in 2023, people are looking at different ways to best utilize high-level technology like AI. So are you using AI in your business? Like if not, like what are some of the use cases that you think AI could actually help you when it comes to this business?
Yeah, so AI is actually great because, as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, it helps you speed up what you're currently doing. Will it replace a health coach? I don't know, maybe in the future, but, it helps with maybe creating automations within a business through, different softwares. It can also help with, creating like customized meal plans and food plans for people, which is great. So it's not completely perfect, but there is a few things that have launched where you can actually take a photo of your food as well, and it will tell you how many calories is in it, which is pretty cool. So we've actually started sharing that with clients. Chat GPT is great for marketing and copy stuff, but also for maybe helping you with speeding up, meal plans and things like that. So those are the few areas that have worked really well for AI within our business.
Makes sense. Like, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you're facing overall?
The biggest challenge? That's a really good question. I would just say continuing to scale at the level that we want to scale at, to be honest. We're always looking to grow our top of the funnel to get more people to know about us. The product that we've got now is actually really, really good. We get a lot of referrals. We've got a lot of clients staying with us for a long time and great, excellent feedback as well as client results. So the main thing is now is to just scale this up to as big as possible and reach more people and help more people. That's really the main goal.
So do you work with people in the US or all across the world? So most like in the UK, like where's most of your clients are located like, as of right now?
Yeah, good question. So we have like 95% plus of our clients are based in the US, which is crazy.
Wow.
So I don't know why the Americans just love my accent for some reason, and that must be why. So, but we also work with people in Australia. We work with people in Canada. We work with people in the Middle East, from places like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, which is quite cool. And then Europe as well is also a hub of clients that we have.
So it's kind of interesting because you mentioned 95% are in the US, which is like a really high number. Obviously, like the UK is a very big market too, right? So have you just not targeted people in the UK, or is it just, like, what do you think, or I guess like, why do you think most people in the US are interested compared to people locally like in the UK?
It's a good question. I think that there's two reasons for this. Number one, I do believe that Americans like to invest in themselves, and they believe investing in themselves is a good thing. Right. So especially when it comes to health, it's an investment in yourself. It's not a cost. And Americans really see the value in that, especially when you look at the cost of healthcare in the US and you look at the hospital bills. It's going to be much more advantageous to hire a health coach to look after you and ensure that you don't get unhealthy than it is to actually pay all these hundreds and maybe even tens of thousands of hospital bills in the future. And then I think secondly as well, which is really, really interesting, is that Americans, like, they have harder, more stressful health issues, we find. So we find that there's been a lot of, really bad food that has come out of some places in the US and things like that. And that's caused a lot of weight gain. It causes a lot of inflammation. It causes a lot of stress. The environment as well is different to the UK and Europe. Europe is very much focused on lots of walking. You can, basically keep active. Whereas in the States, it's very different. It's so vast. Most people, get in the car to drive around. There's tons of drive-throughs. There's tons of environmental factors that impact weight and health. So you could say there's more of a demand from people in the States compared to that of the UK and maybe Europe.
Makes sense. No, yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I live in Texas, and I know, like, our foods are not known for being the healthiest here. And I think just to your point, it's like, it's something that I think in the American work culture, it's not, I think it's, much more intense, right? Like, you're working nonstop, and people, are much more sedentary at their desk, and especially in certain cities, you're just driving everywhere. You're really not getting the exercise. Your health is not a priority. It's just part of our culture in certain places.
Yeah, completely, man, completely.
So in terms of this business, like you mentioned that you're really focused on scaling. Like, what does that look like for you in terms of numbers? Like, where are you at now, and really just like, what are you trying to get to?
Yeah, so we're at a point now where we've got about 50 clients at the minute that we look after and we manage. So we want to double that within the next 12 months. We'll probably get there before that. That's really the goal. And then from there, we're going to look to offer other products and other things within our product offering that could be valuable to high performers and CEOs. So we're going to look to do maybe some in-person retreats, which would be awesome. Actually going out and doing some health stuff face to face, and going to a beautiful location in maybe Mexico and going through some breath work, maybe going through some, meditation, also hitting some yoga, some training, coaching, as well as some fun stuff as well. Maybe some scuba diving, kayaking, and, maybe a few drinks here and there as well to enjoy it. That's one thing. We're also going to look to create some more digital products as well, which will help people with their diet, with training, with sleep, with stress, that kind of thing too. And continue to kind of grow this coaching side of the business as well, and just help hundreds and hundreds of people within the short term, thousands within the midterm, and then hopefully a million in the future. That's the goal.
Awesome. So, like, I think that you sort of alluded to earlier that many of your leads are inbound, word of mouth, Twitter, social media. How do you, for example, for Twitter, how do you manage your Twitter in a way that's very high level, that is gonna I guess, like, have the algorithms favor you and be able to reach people in an organic way?
It's a good question. I mean, it has changed a lot in the past, you could say, a few months with the changes that Elon has made. And, the X that was there, a year ago is not the same as the X that you have today. I could the reach has been vastly dropped compared to what it was. But I think there are some key principles that you can stick to now, which are really, really good. And the first one is, of course, just turning up every day and making sure you post content at least, 5 times a day on X. And I think that really helps you just get into the algorithm well. Trying to do more long form posts as well has been shown to be doing quite well, and I've seen some success with that too. There's also been a big push towards media as well. So if you go on your X feed right now and you click refresh, one of the first 3 tweets that will come up will be an image or it'll be a video, which is interesting. So Elon has already spoke about wanting to make this more of a video-based platform and more of a media-based platform. So maybe attaching some videos to your posts, attaching some photos to your post can also do well, and something that I found to be really good. And I think the final thing is just engaging. So engaging with people within your niche, within your community, with accounts that you enjoy their content. That also brings you up within the algorithm to ensure that people see your stuff, because at the end of the day, it's really all about attention and building that top of funnel as big as possible. So the more attention you can get with the right content will allow you to bring in more leads and filter through the people that you can help.
So typically, can you just talk more about, I guess, the potential client journey on Twitter? So if somebody follows you, do you automatically message them? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, good question. So we like to shoot a message out to people straight away as soon as they follow us to get us in the ecosystem, right? And we chat to them. We ask, how things are going with them, and if we can be of any service completely free. We ask them if we can send them any resources or any free content to really just help people out. And that gives them a good touch point. We get them then to maybe check out the newsletter that we've got and the feed and things like that of what we've got. And we just try and get multiple touch points with people. We've also, as we record this episode, have launched a really cool body type quiz. So people can actually, take this like 30-second quiz. It takes between 30 to 60 seconds, answer a few questions. And then from that, they're actually going to be able to find out what their body type is, which is pretty cool. So you'll be sent basically a video of me explaining exactly what you need to do for your body type, which is great because, results with your physique really come from personalization, having something that's tailored. What will work for me, Dan, will be completely different to what will work for you. So we kind of provide that. And we just try and show people how to do things in a very sustainable and simple way. And we explain that through YouTube videos, we explain that through tweets, we explain that through the newsletter. We cut through all of the bullshit to really just give a sound bit of advice to people in regards to health and fitness.
Awesome. So how often are you sending out your newsletter? Like, how do you keep it relevant? Because obviously, there's lots of different content that you can share when it comes to fitness. So how do you keep it relevant that you have all your subscribers are reading it and actually find it valuable for them?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I like to do a mix of content, really. So there's the actionable value posts, which are really good. So those are just kind of pure value, really helping people find and overcome a specific problem. So this could be, overcoming inflammation in the gut, maybe 10 of the foods that will be really useful to you, right? So someone struggling with that problem will really see the benefit of that. We also kind of do story-based posts as well, and these have been really, really good, really just letting people know what my journey has been like, some of the challenges that I've been through, how we've overcome those, as well as some of the clients that we work with, some of their challenges, the problems and how they've overcome that. And we're finding this mix between sharing stories, sharing value, helping people overcome their problems and kind of giving them the knowledge really does help with engagement within our newsletter.
Awesome. So in terms of, like you mentioned, like if somebody follows you, you offer free value for this newsletter. So how do you go from there to actually converting somebody from, being a subscriber and getting free value to actually being a client of yours?
Yeah, it's a good question. So every email will always do a small kind of call to action if they want to kind of apply to work with us. So we'll give tons of value. We don't really hard sell. What we do is we were like, hey, PS, by the way, if you're looking to achieve this outcome and you're interested in working with me, then you can either hit reply to this email or hit the link below, depending on what that is. And that's a really nice way for people that are ready to then actually find out what it's like to work with us. And then we kind of take them through the cycle of what that looks like. So we hit them with kind of the landing page. They can see really the great results that our clients have got, the video testimonials, the written testimonials, the transformations. And once they book in then for a call, potentially, we'll then hit them with some emails, just sharing a little bit about us, kind of what this upcoming call is going to be about, maybe another case study of a client, and then maybe just sharing a little bit around kind of myself as well and my own journey if people don't know. And through this, they've kind of had like multiple touch points of kind of like different bits of content that they can see, and they're really kind of like warmed up before they get on the call with us. And then when we get on the call, we then kind of share what we do. We do a big discovery for clients of really what their pain points are, really if they'd actually be a good fit for us. And this kind of filters out any people that we think maybe wouldn't be suitable to work with us. And then from there, we share our program and what we do. Yeah, that's kind of a little bit around how we bring people on as clients.
Awesome. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Good question, man. Really good question. I would say it's really important to build an email list. I would say an email list is like the number one thing that I think any personal brand should be building as much as they can. Because I think a really good example is the changes that have been made on X recently. Your reach can go from really, really great to really, really bad. And there's no control that you have over it, right? Because you don't actually own your account initially, right? It's owned by X or it's owned by YouTube or it's owned by this. So as early as possible, trying to get as many newsletter subscribers on your email list that are going to be interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer is really good, because that is your gold mine of, sharing new content, launching new products, getting sponsorships, and, that will go with you, whichever email provider you choose to go with. So that would definitely be my one bit of advice for personal brands and people building businesses.
Makes sense. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out, do you mind sharing your social media handle or website, just best ways for somebody to get in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm most active on Twitter and LinkedIn. So both of those are just the Oliver Anwar on both, and you'll be able to find me. And then, my website is actually fitnessforentrepreneurs.com. So nice and easy. So we've got a quiz on there. We've also got a bit about my program and what I do as well. So feel free to check it out.
Awesome. Oliver, thank you so much for your time. And we're rooting for you. Hopefully in the next 12 months, you can double your clients. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
See you, man.